To hear this and many more audiobooks in a podcast feed, please visit the first link in the description below. Thank you for your support. The Governance of China, Volume 3, by Xi Jinping, Audiobook, Part 3. Overall CPC Leadership. Strength and commitment to the four consciousnesses, the four-sphere confidence, and the two upholds. Excerpts from speeches made between October 25th, 2017, and May 31st, 2019. October 25th, 2017 to May 31st, 2019. Political leadership is crucial to the CPC Central Committee's authority and its centralized, unified leadership. When we assess the caliber and capabilities of party members and officials, especially those in high positions, we will judge in the first place whether they are politically resolute and reliable. A purposeful and trustworthy official must have the four consciousnesses, keep in line with the Central Committee in thinking, action, and political orientation. Uphold the authority of the Central Committee and its centralized, unified leadership, resolutely implement the Central Committee's decisions and plans in all their work, and not engage in political maneuverings. Every member of the Central Committee must take a clear political stance. They must apply strict requirements to themselves as a Marxist statesman, adopt an appropriate political perspective, enhance political awareness, and undertake political responsibilities. They need to improve their political abilities, particularly the ability to set the direction, to grasp the general trend, to manage the overall situation, to maintain their political resolve, to cope with political issues, and to prevent political risks. When planning future developments, formulating policies and measures, training officials, or implementing plans, we must aim to strengthen our party's status as the ruling party in order to further the cause of the party and the people. We must abide by political discipline and rules, fully observe the regulations on intra-party political activities, ensure the implementation of the Central Committee's policies and decisions, make sure local interests submit to overall interests, and guarantee the right political orientation in all our work. From the speech at the first plenary session of the 19th CPC Central Committee, October 25th, 2017. Upholding the CPC Central Committee's authority and its centralized unified leadership is the prerequisite for bolstering overall party leadership. Full and strict implementation of the Central Committee's decisions within the party is crucial to the future of our party and the country, and to the fundamental interests of all the people of China. Members of the Political Bureau must be clearly aware of this. The report to the 19th CPC National Congress incorporates a focus on reinforcing the party's political foundations into the general requirements for strengthening our party for the new era, and makes it our primary task in promoting political progress to ensure that the whole party defers to the Central Committee and upholds its authority and centralized, unified leadership. This stems from the wealth of experience we have accumulated through the process of revolution, economic development, and reform, and is one of the founding principles as a mature Marxist ruling party. Members of the Political Bureau must take this principle as an essential political norm and a fundamental political requirement, endorse it in our thinking, safeguard it in our political philosophy, comply with it in organizational arrangements, and follow it in our actions. We must remain highly consistent with the Central Committee in political stance, orientation, principles, and path, and uphold its authority. This is a test of our party spirit. It is our party's most fundamental political discipline and rule. From the speech at a meeting of criticism and self-criticism among members of the Political Bureau of the 19th CPC Central Committee, December 25th to 26th, 2017. It is a primary requirement to uphold CPC leadership. We must be clear and steadfast in this stance, rather than being hesitant, vague, evasive, or diffident. To uphold party leadership, the most fundamental thing is to safeguard the authority of the CPC Central Committee and its centralized, unified leadership. In the 4 principles of deference, footnote 1, this means that individual party members defer to party organizations, the minority defers to the majority, lower-level party organizations defer to higher-level party organizations, and all organizations and members of the party defer to the National Congress and the Central Committee of the party, end of footnote 1. Provided in the party constitution, what is most essential is that all organizations and members of the party defer to the National Congress and the Central Committee. Among the 4 consciousnesses underlined by the Central Committee, upholding the authority of the Central Committee and its centralized, unified leadership is pivotal. None of these are empty slogans. Our officials should not simply express their compliance verbally, but must put it into action. The Central Committee requires that officials at all levels, high-ranking ones in particular, take a clear-cut political stance and stay loyal to the party. This means they must conscientiously consider and plan their work in accordance with the Central Committee's overall plans, respond promptly to its calls, fully implement its decisions, and put a stop to anything it prohibits. The implementation of the Central Committee's decisions and plans should be unconditional. There should be no unauthorized alterations or any attempt to negotiate the terms. From the speech at the second plenary session of the 19th CPC Central Committee for Discipline Inspection, January 11th, 2018. The party exercises overall leadership over all endeavors across the country. The primary requirement in adhering to party leadership is to uphold the CPC Central Committee's authority and centralized, unified leadership. This is the paramount principle in maintaining party leadership, and we must never equivocate nor waver at any time and in any situation. We require the whole party to hold in the highest regard the party constitution and improve the 4 consciousnesses. We must improve the institutions and mechanisms for upholding party leadership and strengthen the party's ability and resolve to chart the course, craft overall plans, design policies, and promote reform. Resolute efforts should be made to prevent any weakening of CPC leadership and any failure to strengthen the party in any locality or local authority, and ensure that the whole party maintains a high degree of unity with the Central Committee in thinking, action, and political orientation. From the speech at the CPC's National Conference on Organizational Work, July 3rd, 2018. Our party was established in line with the Marxist principle of creating a political party with a complete setup consisting of the central, local, and grassroots units. This gives us a great strength that no other political party in the world possesses. The Central Committee, like the brain and main part of the body, must be the sole authority that makes the final decisions so that it can control the subordinate parts, just as the body employs the arms and the arms employ the fingers without any difficulty. Then the country runs as a whole. Footnote 2. Liu Zheng. Records of major events of the dynasty. Lei Bian Huang Chao Da Shi Ji Jiang Yi. Liu Zheng, dates unknown, was a scholar of the Southern Song dynasty, 1127 to 1279, End of footnote 2. The fundamental task of local party organizations is to ensure the full and strict implementation of the Central Committee's decisions and plans, and to act or cease to act as ordered by the party. CPC leadership groups have a special position in the party's structure. They must carry out the decisions and plans of the Central Committee and higher party organizations and do everything required in setting the direction, managing the overall situation, and guaranteeing implementation. All party members, especially those in official positions, must strengthen their party identity and their commitment to the party. They must keep in line with the party in thinking, follow its political orientation, defer to its orders in their work, and uphold the party from the heart. From the speech at the CPC's National Conference on Organizational Work, July 3rd, 2018. The Four Consciousnesses, the Four-Sphere Confidence, footnote 3. This refers to confidence in the path, theory, system, and culture of socialism with Chinese characteristics, into footnote 3, and the two upholds, footnote 4. This refers to upholding General Secretary Xi Jinping's core position on the CPC Central Committee and in the party as a whole, and upholding the Central Committee's authority and its centralized, unified leadership, into footnote 4, are not abstract but concrete requirements. Officials, particularly high-ranking ones, should examine, make demands of, and review themselves, checking if their deeds accord with their thoughts. They must firmly and fully implement the decisions and plans of the Central Committee. They must strictly observe political discipline and have a clear-cut and staunch stance on major matters of principle. They should be selfless and properly maintain the Central Committee's authority. They must say no to misconduct, such as interference for personal gain by central leaders, family members, relatives, immediate staff, and close associates, and reject importuning by any person who claims a special relationship with central leaders. From the speech at the third plenary session of the 19th CPC Central Commission for Discipline Inspection, January 11th, 2019. We should quicken our pace in making our party more of a learning-oriented Marxist party and nurturing a love of learning in our people, with studying and putting into practice the thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era as the top priority. In this process, we should combine theory with reality, comprehend the fundamentals, seek truth, and understand the reasons and logic behind things. Strengthening their commitment to the four consciousnesses, the four-sphere confidence, and the two upholds, all party members and officials should improve themselves against the standards of being loyal, upright, and responsible, foster a pioneering spirit, and increase their abilities so that in terms of thinking ability and action, they can keep abreast of the times, our cause, and the requirements of the Central Committee. From the preface to the reading materials for the fifth group of trainee officials, written on February 27th, 2019. This education campaign calls for strengthening our party with sound political philosophy and theories, integrating our learning, thinking, and practice, and seeking unity between what we know, what we believe in, and how we behave. Party members and officials are encouraged to study in a systematic way, to reflect on what they have learned, and to connect knowledge with reality. It is crucial for them to enhance the four consciousnesses, reinforce the four-sphere confidence, and ensure the two upholds. We should also try to guide them to strengthen their beliefs, reinforce the marrow of their faith, and maintain the correct way of thinking. From the speech at a conference on the Aspiration and Mission Education Campaign, May 31st, 2019. Maximize the institutional strength of CPC leadership. Part of the note to the draft decision and draft program on further reform of party and state institutions, delivered at the third plenary session of the 19th CPC Central Committee, February 26, 2018. Strengthening overall leadership by the party is an important principle that we must adhere to when furthering reform of party and state institutions. Leadership by the party is the defining feature of socialism with Chinese characteristics. It represents the common will and fundamental interests of the entire party and all the Chinese people, and is the fundamental guarantee for a decisive victory in building a moderately prosperous society in all respects, and the great success of socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era. Governing a large country with more than 1.3 billion people, the party must improve its leadership systems and mechanisms, give full play to the great strength of leadership by the party, and shoulder the major responsibilities of carrying out our great struggle, developing our great project, advancing our great cause, and realizing our great dream. Only in this way can we ensure national reunification, uniform laws and policies, and consistent market management, achieve economic development, clean political administration, cultural prosperity, social justice, and healthy ecosystems, and smoothly advance the causes of Chinese socialism in the new era. In China's political arena, the CPC exercises leadership, strengthening the centralized, unified leadership of the party, operates in tandem with supporting a range of bodies in performing their functions and playing their roles. The People's Congresses, governments, the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference, CPPCC, supervisory departments, courts, prosecuting agencies, people's organizations, enterprises, public institutions, and social organizations. The draft decision focuses on adapting to the requirements for developing Chinese socialism in the new era and establishing a functional system of party and state institutions that upholds party leadership in all respects and reflects the fundamental interests of the people. It aims to bring into full play the great strength of party leadership at the institutional level, adopt a comprehensive approach to the setup of party and government institutions, coordinate and give play to the functions and roles of various institutions, improve the systems and mechanisms for sound leadership, decision-making, and effective management and enforcement, and ensure the long-term governance of the party and the lasting stability of the country. Strengthening leadership by the party in all respects is entirely consistent with our people-centered philosophy. The purpose of further reform of party and state institutions is to better develop the causes of the party and the state, meet the expectation of the people for a better life, and promote the well-rounded personal development, comprehensive social progress, and common prosperity of the people. We must ensure the principal status of the people and adhere to the party's commitment to serving the public good and exercising power in the interests of the people. We must implement the party's principle of the mass line, improve the system through which the people are the masters of the country, and improve the systems and mechanisms for bringing benefits to the people, serving them, addressing their concerns, protecting their rights and interests, and accepting their supervision, so as to provide a stronger guarantee for the people to manage both state affairs and social, economic, and cultural affairs. Initiative and resolve in reinforcing the party's political foundations. Speech at the 6th Study Group Session of the Political Bureau of the 19th CPC Central Committee, June 29th, 2018. Today we gather here for the 6th group study session of the Political Bureau of the 19th CPC Central Committee. The subject of this session is reinforcing our party's political foundations. This critical issue was raised at the 19th National Congress in 2017, which underlined that the issue is of fundamental importance to our party, deserves top priority, and should be the overarching principle for strengthening the party. The goal of our study at today's session is to further understand this subject and consequently adopt a more purposeful and resolute approach. There is profound thinking behind raising the issue of reinforcing the party's political foundations at our 19th National Congress. Every political party has its political nature, mission, and goals. A Marxist party has lofty political ideals and pursues noble goals. Its political character is wholesome, and its discipline is strict. If it is no longer politically wholesome, there is no way it can retain its progressive nature and integrity. This is why reinforcing its political foundations is of fundamental importance to our party. With more than 89 million members and 4.5 million grassroots organizations, it is not easy for our party to preserve and develop its nature as a Marxist political party. A broad brush approach or a few targeted campaigns are not the solution. Reinforcing our party's political foundations is a mission without end that must never in any way be neglected. At the Gutian meeting, footnote 1, this refers to the 9th Party Congress of the 4th Army of the Red Army, held in Gutian village of Shanghang County, Fujian Province in December 1929. It was at this meeting that the principle of employing the CPC's political philosophy to cultivate the army was established. End of footnote 1. In 1929, Mao Zedong put forward the principle of strengthening the party and army with a sound political philosophy. The 7th CPC National Congress in 1945 declared its intention to focus on strengthening the party's ideological commitment and reinforcing its political foundations while strengthening its organization. After the People's Republic of China was founded in 1949, Mao Zedong observed that, quote, political work is the lifeline of all economic endeavors, end quote. Footnote 2. Mao Zedong, editorial notes from Socialist Upsurge in China's Countryside, collected works of Mao Zedong, Volume 6, Chinese edition, People's Publishing House, Beijing, 1999, page 449, end of footnote 2. After reform and opening up started in 1978, Deng Xiaoping emphasized, quote, we have to lay great stress on politics at all times, end quote. Footnote 3, Deng Xiaoping remarks during an inspection tour of Tianjin, selected works of Deng Xiaoping, Volume 3, English edition, Foreign Languages Press, Beijing, 1994, page 169, end of footnote 3. All this served to indicate that reinforcing the party's political foundations is an important guarantee that our party will go from strength to strength and from victory to victory. In the course of strengthening our party's self-governance since the 18th CPC National Congress in 2012, we have clearly realized that many of our problems are related to political issues and attributable to a slack political approach. Quote, if the root cause of a problem is addressed, there will be immediate change for the better. If only trivial matters are addressed, the problem will stay forever. End quote. Footnote 4. Su Shi. Reasons for vagrants in the Guanlong area counterfeiting coins and grain transport troops in areas between Yangtze and Huaihe rivers, committing robbery. Su Shi, 1036 to 1101, also known as Su Dongpo, was a man of letters, painter, and calligrapher of the Northern Song dynasty. End of footnote 4. If we do not perceive and deal with a problem from the political perspective, we will put ourselves in the position of juggling with stopgap measures and fail to produce a fundamental solution. This is why I have reiterated that strict governance over the party must start with political effort, and that political issues need political solutions. Giving prominence to reinforcing our party's political foundations, we have achieved significant results in the following respects: reinforcing our political belief, strengthening the four consciousnesses, upholding the authority of the Central Committee and its centralized unified leadership, enforcing strict political discipline and rules, enhancing and regulating intra-party political activities in the new era, cleaning up the political environment within our party, improving party conduct, fighting corruption, and punishing wrongdoing. Experience has taught us that reinforcing the party's political foundations determines the direction and effect of strengthening the party. If we neglect them or stray from that direction, it will be hard to achieve the anticipated results in other areas. We must be aware that despite our achievements since the 18th CPC National Congress, the political issues existing within the party have not been fully solved. It remains a conspicuous problem that some colleagues overlook or downplay political matters. Some are weak in the four consciousnesses. Some pay only lip service to upholding party leadership. Some show no political acuity and discernment or lack the will to respond to erroneous words and deeds. Some are a law unto themselves and ignore our party's political discipline and rules, and others run things according to unspoken rules or act as if doing business deals in the party. Reinforcing the party's political foundations is a long and arduous task that demands our perseverance. To this end, the 19th CPC National Congress set out specific requirements, and I have elaborated on them several times. We must implement them to the full. Here I would like to emphasize the following points. First, adhering to the correct political direction. Political direction is an issue of paramount importance to our party's existence and development, and determines its future and the prospects of its cause. When the Red Army was crossing the marshes during the Long March, the very first question that concerned the cook in the morning was not whether there was rice to cook. Instead, he would ask whether the army was heading south or north. This shows that even a cook understood that where to go was more important than what to eat. Straying from the right path will cause fatal mistakes. We must have a clear understanding on this matter. The political direction we follow is the noble ideal of communism, our ideal of socialism, with Chinese characteristics, the two centenary goals, and the party's underlying theories, basic guidelines, and fundamental principles. For the party to make political progress, we need to do three things. 1. We need to make political commitment the compass for our work, guide all party members to hold to our party's ideals and convictions, and have full confidence in the path, theory, system, and culture of Chinese socialism. Clarify any confusion and ambiguity, remove all obstacles, and concentrate the wisdom and strength of the whole party on the task of upholding and developing Chinese socialism in the new era. 2. We must urge the whole party to follow the correct political direction in devising major strategies, formulating major policies, advancing major plans, and implementing major tasks. We must conduct regular self-examination against our goals and standards in order to make prompt adjustments and improvements, and rectify practices that deviate from or run counter to our party's political direction. We can thereby ensure that all undertakings of the party and the state will always proceed in the correct political direction. 3. We must build party organizations at all levels in such a way so as to firmly safeguard the correct political direction and guide all party members and officials accordingly. Those who err on this issue must be reprimanded, and those guilty of serious misconduct must be punished in accordance with party discipline. Second, upholding the party's political leadership. The leadership of the CPC is the defining feature of Chinese socialism and the greatest strength of this system. Our party is the highest force for political leadership. Without our party's leadership, national rejuvenation would be unattainable. Having been put into this position by historical developments and our people, our party must shoulder its political responsibilities by exercising effective political leadership. Through the painstaking efforts we have made since the 18th CPC National Congress, an awareness of upholding overall party leadership has clearly grown among all party members. Nevertheless, we still face the fact that some localities and entities fail to translate this awareness into actions in their work. We need to establish sound organizational frameworks, systems, and mechanisms for strengthening overall party leadership in all realms and respects, including reform, development, social stability, domestic affairs, foreign relations, national defense, and governance of the party, the state, and the military. Upholding the authority of the Central Committee and its centralized unified leadership is of utmost importance to the party's political leadership and is the primary task in reinforcing the party's political foundations. We need to guide all party members to enhance the four consciousnesses, maintain a high degree of unity with the Central Committee in their thinking, actions, and political stance, and ensure that the Central Committee is the sole authority and has the final say. High-ranking officials, especially members of the political bureau, should lead by example, acting in line with the overall interests of the party and country when performing their duties. Third, consolidating the political foundation. The support of the people is the unfailing source of our party's strength. In the past, quote, workers and peasants are wakened in their millions to fight as one man, end quote. Footnote 5. Mao Zedong, Against the First Encirclement Campaign. Mao Zedong, Poems, Chinese English edition. Foreign Languages Press, Beijing, 1999, page 21, end of footnote 5. Creating an indomitable force that enabled us to win the revolution by relying on the people. Today, our party makes its goal the people's desire for a better life, creating a mighty force that will enable us to realize the Chinese dream. Quote, the people are the foundation of a country and are also what the rule of a country is for. End quote. Footnote 6. Zhu Xi, Commentaries on the Four Books. Zhu Xi, 1130 to 1200, was a Neo-Confucian philosopher of the Southern Song dynasty. End of footnote 6. To reinforce the party's political foundations, we must make the support of the people our top priority and focus on winning the people's hearts and pooling their wisdom and strength. We must stand on the people's side, implement our party's principle of the mass line, concern ourselves with the people's needs, and work together with them. Moreover, we must resolutely oppose the four malfeasances of favoring form over substance, bureaucratism, hedonism, and extravagance, particularly the first two, and always maintain our party's deep bond with the people. Public support, approval, and satisfaction depend not only on what we say, but on what we do. Only hard work can make our country prosperous and strong, and our people better off. Complacency, laxity, muddling through in one's work, considering self-interests first in the face of difficulties, and making half-hearted efforts are all incompatible with the needs of the people and the demands of the new era. We need to train and motivate all party members and officials to press ahead with great determination, work hard, maintain stable growth, advance reform, adjust the economic structure, improve living standards, guard against risks, address intractable problems, overcome formidable obstacles, and solve the most pressing, most immediate issues that concern the people the most. We must give encouragement and support to officials who perform their duties, do solid work, and are bold in shouldering responsibilities. We must reprimand and hold accountable those who are negligent in their posts. Never follow words with deeds, or cavil at, undermine, or even frame false charges against those who get things done. This is how we will foster an atmosphere in the party of taking pride in performing one's duties and feeling ashamed of inaction and lack of drive. Fourth, fostering a healthy political environment. With a sound political atmosphere, a political party will be imbued with a sense of integrity. Without it, it will be infested with noxious influences. For a certain period prior to the 18th CPC National Congress, the political atmosphere in some localities and entities deteriorated seriously. As a result, their cohesion was undermined, public ethics were poisoned, and the people's faith in our party was severely eroded. Since the 18th CPC National Congress, the political atmosphere within the party has seen a marked improvement, which we can feel personally. But we must be aware that there are problems yet to be eradicated. Sometimes, intra-party political activities are conducted in a perfunctory, superficial, ineffective, or inappropriate way. This deserves our full attention. Fostering a healthy political environment is a long-term task that must be a basic and regular activity in reinforcing our party's political foundations, like tending the natural environment by clearing up the sources of waterways and cultivating forests. We need to make long, tenacious efforts to foster political integrity and build a strong foundation. The selection and appointment of officials is the weather vane of the political environment and has direct bearing on it. In selecting and appointing officials, we must adopt the right approach, with emphasis on political performance. Party members and officials must act in accordance with the regulations for political activities within the party in the new era, and have regular political health checks through intra-party activities. We can thereby sweep off the dust, keep our souls wholesome, and boost our immune system in the political realm. Intra-party political culture exerts an imperceptible influence on our party's political atmosphere. We need to intensify our efforts to cultivate a healthy political culture within the party and foster the ideals, convictions, values, and fine traditions of the party in the hearts and minds of all party members and officials. We also should promote the core socialist values and advocate and practice values such as loyalty, honesty, impartiality, pragmatism, and integrity. By virtue of a healthy political culture, we will maintain a wholesome political atmosphere. Fifth, guarding against political risks. Quote, "Be alert to danger in times of peace, and be wary of unrest in times of stability." End quote. Footnote 7. Wei Yuan. Essays by Wei Yuan, Mo Gu. Wei Yuan, 1794 to 1857, was a thinker and writer of the Qing dynasty. End of footnote 7. Our party was born amid domestic turmoil and foreign aggression, grew up through hardships and setbacks, and has become stronger in the course of overcoming risks and challenges. It therefore has an acute sense of dangers and risks. Since the 18th CPC National Congress, I have emphasized on many occasions that we must make preparations for worst-case scenarios. My purpose is to warn all party members that we must always bear in mind the ancient adage: one should be mindful of possible danger in times of peace, downfall in times of survival, and chaos in times of stability. Footnote 8. Book of Changes, Yi Jing. End of footnote 8. China is currently facing a complex and volatile environment and is exposed to a growing number of threats, both foreseeable and unforeseeable, which could evolve into political threats if not managed promptly and effectively. All party members, especially those in official positions at all levels, must be highly sensitive to these and improve their ability to guard against them. We need to train and guide officials to enhance their political acuity and discernment, have a keen eye for sensitive matters and tendencies that may trigger off political issues, especially serious emergencies, whenever they emerge, and take preemptive and swift action to remove all potential political dangers. Close attention should be paid and prompt action taken to intercept transmission of risks between different sectors. The goal is to ward off cross-infection, preventing non-public risks from growing into public ones and non-political risks from escalating into political ones. We need to build up our fighting spirit, take an unequivocal stance, and resolutely prevent and overcome political lethargy, which will render us unable to detect hostile moves, distinguish right from wrong, or see the correct direction. Sixth, maintaining the political integrity of communists. A significant number of the corruption cases investigated recently took place after the 18th and even the 19th National Congresses of the party. In spite of the repeated orders of the Central Committee, certain officials could not restrain themselves from wrongdoing. Instead, they continued to commit offenses, tempting fate. This shows that the fight against corruption remains grave and complex. We must remain firm in our resolve to build on our overwhelming momentum and secure a sweeping victory in this fight. In reinforcing our party's political foundations, we must have the determination and tenacity to persevere in the never-ending fight against corruption, so that our party will never change its nature or betray its colors. We must maintain a tough stance on corruption. Showing zero tolerance, the fight covers all those holding public office without exception. We will impose tight constraints, maintain a tough stance, and a long-term deterrence, and punish both those who take bribes and those who offer them. We will prevent interest groups from arising within the party and guard against such groups preying on or perverting officials. All officials, especially those in senior positions, are expected to have political, public, and private virtues, setting a good example in upholding integrity, self-discipline, exercising public power for clean government, and creating a culture of integrity in their families. We will establish a tight-knit scrutiny network, reinforce relevant institutions, and let discipline inspection cut like a blade through corruption and misconduct. As strict governance over the party extends to the grassroots, we will ensure that upright officials, a clean government, and political integrity are visible and accessible to the people. Seventh, improving our political ability. In strengthening the ranks of officials as part of our political foundations, we need to improve the ability of officials, especially those in senior positions, to stay on the right course, keep in line with the general trend, and bear the broader picture in mind. We should enhance our ability to distinguish between right and wrong on political issues, maintain our political resolve, navigate political currents, and forestall political risks. A key aspect of this is to hone the ability to analyze and resolve problems from a political perspective. Only by doing so can we comprehend the true nature of an issue and get to its root cause. Officials, especially those in senior positions, should have good political judgment. We should let no fleeting phenomena cloud our vision and shoulder the political responsibilities entrusted to us by the party and the people. Ensure the two upholds in central party and government departments. Part of the speech at the National Conference on Strengthening the Party in Central Party and Government Departments. July 9th, 2019. The primary task of strengthening our party in central party and government departments is to lead by example in ensuring the two upholds. One of the important goals of the Aspiration and Mission Education Campaign is to cultivate the loyal, upright, and responsible political character of party members and officials, especially those in leadership positions, and to ensure that the whole party is united in thought and concerted in action. Central party and government departments must be conscious of their role as political organs. Every institution performs different functions, but each of them has political responsibilities. Central party and government departments are at the forefront of ensuring the two upholds. The slightest deviation from the theories, guidelines, principles, and policies of our party will lead to huge mistakes at the grassroots level. If the first baton of implementation is dropped, the race will be lost from the very beginning. In doing their work, party members and officials, especially officials and heads of central party and government departments, should take the lead in upholding the party's underlying theories, basic guidelines, and fundamental principles, and the Central Committee's decisions and plans. They must adopt an appropriate political perspective, maintain the correct political orientation, strengthen their political stance, clarify their political values, and observe political discipline. They should regularly correct deviations so as to respond with resolution to the calls of the Central Committee, fully implement its decisions, and refrain from doing what it prohibits. They must never go astray in their political direction. The meaning of the two upholds is specific and consistent. The whole party must act consistently with the Central Committee and must not compromise democratic centralism within a specific institution in the name of upholding the authority of the Central Committee. Party members and officials, no matter what kind of work they do and how high their rank, are first and foremost party members. They must bear in mind that their primary duty is to work for the party, and they must align their major statements with those of the Central Committee. All important issues and progress relating to important initiatives must be promptly reported to the Central Committee for instruction in accordance with relevant provisions. Political awareness is not abstract. The two upholds should be embodied in the implementation of the Central Committee's decisions and plans, in the performance of your duties, in the effectiveness of your work, and in your daily words and deeds. During the war times, the Central Committee and Chairman Mao commanded the whole party and the entire army by radio transmission. The signals conveyed their instructions, which were carried out unconditionally in the party and the army. If anyone had failed to listen to or properly execute the command, the Central Committee's authority and its centralized, unified leadership would have lost all meaning. To take the lead in ensuring the two upholds is, in essence, to be loyal to the party. This loyalty is to the beliefs, organizations, theories, guidelines, principles, and policies of our party. This loyalty must start with the most basic work. If we do not do our own job well, shirking our responsibilities, sitting idle all day, and neglecting the duties assigned by party organizations, then ensuring the two upholds will be nothing but empty talk. In the new era, we must strengthen education on loyalty to our party, give full play to the strengths of central party and government departments imbued with our party's heritage, and reread our written applications for joining the party and the party admission oath, so as to foster an intra-party political culture with characteristics unique to the central party and government departments. We should encourage the emulation of model party members as an important starting point for furthering the education campaign, which should be combined with the establishment of model party and government departments. To encourage party members and officials to look up to the role models and make progress. Those in leadership positions should incorporate loyalty to the party into family culture and family value education, and encourage their family and relatives to follow the party's leadership. To take the lead in ensuring the two upholds, we should identify with the principle on both a rational and emotional level, and have both the ability and resolve to do this well. We must rely on study and practice to strengthen our political resolve and competence. I have always emphasized that the rejuvenation of the Chinese nation will be no easy task. It will not be achieved by simply beating drums and gongs. We cannot overcome all the risks and challenges we face on the way forward without a true fighting spirit. Chairman Mao summarized the key to our victory in resisting U.S. aggression and aiding Korea. The enemies have more steel than morale, while we have less steel but higher morale. We party members and officials of central party and government departments should stay true to our principles, be prepared for adversity, maintain our fighting spirit, and be adept at foreseeing developing trends and detecting potential risks and challenges. In avoiding and resolving risks, we must have the courage to take on responsibility and fulfill our duties to the letter. End of audiobook, part 3.